That's why I want to hear from MaryJane Enchill, because many of us have not even heard about the National Adaptation Plan. Talk less of knowing about the details and what is entailed. So how do we tell the story a bit further?
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Before I go on, I just want to thank everybody, the organizers of the program, and to the studio audience, and also those listening to us on radio, and to my fantastic team behind. Thanks for coming with me. Yeah, so I think the issue of climate change, of course, like everybody is saying, it's not a one-man business. And when we talk of climate change, we are looking at two main issues: adaptation and mitigation. Of course, mitigation has to do with reducing emissions from the atmosphere, and adaptation has to do with actions that are being taken to prepare or lessen the negative impact of climate change. Okay, and we can also take advantage of the positive opportunities that come along with it. So the National Adaptation Plan is actually Ghana's official roadmap, I would say, towards preparing us to how to live or lessen the negative impact of climate change on communities, on our sectors, or vulnerable groups, like you mentioned, like women, and then the elderly or the youth in our community. And this document, I was privileged to be part of those who developed the document because, yes, of course, I was the comms specialist on the project that actually led to the development of the plan. And recently we validated the plan, which is looking at about 5 sectors. It looks at agriculture. How do we promote activities in terms of implement projects in the agricultural space that is resilient to rainfall variability and the rise of climate change or temperature rise? And then also looks at cities. How do we make our cities resilient? How do we ensure that there's enough water management, ecosystems are adapting to the impact of climate change? So this document is actually bulky and technical as well. And so getting it implemented because that everybody is on board. And how do we do that? That's how storytelling comes to bear, or public awareness becomes an issue, a tool that is very important to getting this information across. So one very key thing that I think we can do as part of storytelling is to humanize the NAP process or the plan. And how do we do that? Telling the real stories of how farmers are adapting to it, how farmers are using or adapting to or promoting drought resilient crops and farming, how women are moving or adapting to clean cook stoves, okay, meaning that they are reducing their reliance on charcoal. Invariably, in the long run, it also helps us to reduce, the felling of trees to produce charcoal, how young people are at the forefront restoring ecosystems for it to be able to sequester a lot of CO2 from the atmosphere. So some of these stories are very important. And when we are churning out the story, one of the very important things for me, I think we should be looking at as part of humanizing the process is talking about it in a language that people really appreciate. Yeah. So there's this quote from Nelson Mandela that says, I'm not quoting, but just to summarize, it says that if you talk to me in a language that I understand, or you talk to a man in the language that he understands, you are talking to the head. But if you speak in the mother tongue of that person, you are actually speaking to the heart. What it means is that communicating to people to be able to take action requires that they develop trust, first of all, speaking to them in their mother tongue, appealing to their emotions to be part of the process. So when we are talking about NAPs and how it will be implemented, or adaptation plans and how it will be implemented, we should be able to communicate in such a way that the individual you are talking to appreciates what you are talking about. Yeah. Yes.
And I love that. I tell stories as well, so I'll agree with you on that.